So I just want to remind everybody just how much things actually are worth in this world. And it's an important thing to do this in terms of your own financial calculations. So we're ready to possibly buy a pool for our house, and it is going to cost some money. So I wanted to figure out, what is the actual value of spending this? Now, it's always a good thing to spend money for things that are fun and exciting because they add a lot of pleasure in your life. But what you have to remember is that there is opportunity cost of taking that money and putting into something that is a depreciating asset. So to give you a quick example of this, I did this quick calculation. You could do this on your own if you want, and there's probably plus or minus a little bit of error. But let's say you bought a car when you were 30 years old. Now, the average car for many of us is probably about $30,000, give or take. Now, that doesn't seem like a lot of money, and it seems like it's a pretty reasonable investment for all of us to make. However, you have to assume that you're going to take that away from investing for the long term. So every time that you do something like this, you're taking it away from the possible investment that you could be making for long-term growth. Now, I am a long-term investor, and so I think a long-term. Right? So if I'm 30 years old, I'm going to think that I'm probably going to live until I'm 90. I think that's a reasonable bet. Now, what does that $30,000 that you spent equate after 60 years of waiting in investment funds? So this is really simple stuff, not very risky in terms of the big grand scheme of things. So it's a invest in index funds. This is not Bitcoin. This is not anything like that. This is not investing in Elon Musk kind of projects. This is really boring, ordinary stuff that everybody can be doing and should be doing. This is the way that I personally invest, and it's pretty sound. So what does a index fund net you every single year? So a reminder of what an index fund is, it's just going to a stock market, so like the NASDAQ, and all of the companies that are listed on the NASDAQ, they will be added up and they'll be divided by how many shares that they actually have. And so what you're doing is getting an average of all of the shares on the stock market. So you're basically just investing in the global economy. And so they make on average about 10.5% per year, give or take. That doesn't seem like a lot, right? So that's $1 today. And next year, you're going to have $1.10. Well, what does $30,000 equate to over 60 years of doing this? In a very, very simple, no-nonsense kind of strategy for investing. That's $12,038,000 that you would have had at the age of 90. Now, you would have said that, hey, that's not all that exciting because at the age of 90, I'm probably going to die. And there's really nothing, no enjoyment that's there. But what you have to remember is what you're doing, all of us are probably going to have kids. Most of us are anyways, a significant portion of us. If that doesn't happen, then we're probably going to die as a species, right? We have to have kids. So this means by simply making that small little sacrifice of maybe buying not so fancy of a car or investing in a bicycle instead of a car, those kind of simple things, living closer to work is going to ensure that your kids have an unbelievable amount of wealth going forward. $12 million is still a lot of money, even if you account for inflation and all that kind of stuff. That is unbelievable in terms of the amount of wealth that your kids would have. Now, wouldn't that be an amazing gift to give to your kids? If you like them, maybe if you don't like them, then you can give it to some sort of charity. But if you like your kids, wouldn't that be an amazing gift that you can give them when you pass away because of a small sacrifice that you made? Now, that is very long-term thinking, right? And I don't think everybody's going to think like that. However, there's many other things that you can be doing where you are foregoing a little bit today for some benefit tomorrow. And if you start thinking like that, those little things do add up, because every time that you do something that is frivolous or that you're getting some enjoyment from, you should be thinking that this is taking away from long-term potential in the future. And that long-term potential, generally with most things in this world, whether it's playing the piano versus investing in stocks versus investing in your family, all of those kind of things, they have compound interest that's associated with them. And that adds up and it turns into something pretty amazing over time. So just remember that. All of those fun, frivolous things that in terms of enjoyment today, they have opportunity cost for the investment of the things that you can get in the future. Now, go out and have that food for thought. So the next time you start to buy a car and you think that it's not too bad of a price, or you're getting a good deal, or any of those kind of things that the salespeople are trying to get you to think about, remember, it's still a $12 million car.